happy.
Yes, you do, my friend.
Blessings, sisters and brothers. Blessings.
Blessings to you, Little Horizon.
Thank you for inviting me in this beautiful teepee of light, of love and of healing. I have come to you as your friend, as your guide, as your inner spider. I am one of many who stand proudly by your side, who love you, who inspire you, who nurture you, teach you throughout your incarnation. Not only does your family you have once known stand proudly by your side, do not forget that we, your guides, healers, inspirers, are also proudly standing by your side. We are there to help you, guide you, and inspire you. We are there in the moments of sadness, grief, and unhappiness. But we are also there in the times of happiness, times of joy, times of celebration, times of love. For we share those moments with you also. But my beautiful friends, we cannot interfere. We cannot intervene in your precious physical life. For you have returned to the earth plane for a purpose, for a reason, to learn and to experience a physical life, that these physical life is what teaches the spirit. It is these experiences of life that feeds and nurtures the spirit light within. We in the spiritual world, we do not believe in a wrong path or right path. There is only the path of life that teaches the spirit within. You have all stumbled. You have all made many mistakes. Have you not, my friend?
Yes.
But this does not make you a bad spirit. For have these experiences not taught you much, my friend?
Yes.
So why do so many wish and pray these experiences away? For it is in the moments of darkness, pain and suffering that gets us to see the light the most. Does it not, my friend?
Yes.
When I last lived upon the earth plane, hatred, anger, and fear clouded my spirit. It imprisoned my heart. I made many mistakes. I fought against the white man, and he fought against my people. But through these moments of anger, pain, and suffering, has taught my spirit that anger, fear, jealousy, grief, hurt, and fear does not teach the spirit of love. It only darkens the spirit. That I thought I had power in my heart. That as I rode upon my mighty horse and slaughtered the people of the white man, that the killing, the hurt, and the suffering would release my hurt, that it would release my imprisoned spirit, that I would be free like the eagle. I was mistaken, and when I returned to the spiritual world in such sadness, in such pain, that I reached out my hand, and when I forgave those that had killed me, that had murdered my family. I was forever in prison. And when I reached out in friendship and in love, I came to understand that I always had true power within me, the power of love, the power of forgiveness. And now I am forever free to help, guide, and inspire you to let go of your pain, your sorrow, your anguish, your hopelessness, selfishness, anger, and fear, until you let go of these fearful things that teaches the spirit much, but imprisons the spirit also. You will continue living your reincarnation imprisoned, covered in fear, anger, and sadness. You may say, little Ribbon, that is easier for you. You are now in the spiritual world. You do not understand. We, your guides, do understand the hurt, the pain, the tears you have shed. We are your family. We are your friends. Let us guide you. Let us inspire you. That tomorrow, as the sun shall rise again, live a life of peace, of hope, and of faith, that you have been brave and courageous, and let go of this hurt, this sorrow, and sadness. Forgive those that have hurt you. Love those you call your enemies. For you will fight your greatest enemy, which is and will always be yourself. Will it not, my friend?
Yes.
Open your heart. Do not be fearful of making mistakes, stumbling and falling. These teaches the spirit the most. The true mastery of learning is not making the same mistake twice, which is difficult, is it not, my friend?
Yes.
All your spirit guides stand by your side now. Do not be downhearted. Do not doubt yourself. No matter the light within, the light within your spirit will always remain strong and bright. You will push against the darkness of despair. We are there to aid you, guide you, and inspire you. Call on us, and we will always be there for you, my beautiful friend. Walk in a peace. Always choose peace, workers of spirit. Oh, good.
Good evening,
Good
Albert.
evening, Albert.
Well, good and kindly, Chris. Are you feeling good or bad? Office this morning time.
Feeling very good, thank you.
Yeah, good, yeah, good. Do I have permission to speak to the fellow colleagues of I
You
need?
certainly do.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow colleagues. Are you feeling good or bad this evening's time?
Very good, thank you, Albert.
Good, thank you.
So, yeah, good, yeah, good. There's much that I wish to discuss with yourselves, fellow colleagues, and if the conditions of the environment and the vibrations are correct, it would allow me to answer your questions, if, of course, you have questions for me to answer, and I will be therefore wanting eagerly and passionately and kindly wanting to answer your questions. But if you do not have a question for myself, then I will ask you a question this evening.
Should be interesting.
That's not fair, Albert.
My greatest to think that your guides and your inspirers are simply decided, eagerly and passionately wanting to be by your side. Yes, we have all signed that spiritual contract. I say with a smile. But in essence, as you say, I have much to learn from the spirit world. Your experiences upon this reincarnation is greatly valued to the spirit world, because your experiences is what teaches the spirit within man. Experiences gives you knowledge, knowledge gives you understanding, and understanding gives you wisdom. So therefore, as Little Raven has highlighted, there is no difference between a good or a bad experience. Do not want to regret them, because this is how the spirit learns, how it ignites within its own spiritual light within. In essence, we, your spirit guides, your teachers, your healers and workers, whatever you wish to call us. You can call us with many different names. We are equally there to learn by you as well. So when you ask us the questions, we learn from you. And if I'm unable to answer your questions, then my helpers and the guides and your inspirers will inspire me. And like the spider's web, the exchange of knowledge never ceases. Like a ripple of knowledge and inspiration, you are the echoes of light that echoes through time and space, pushing against the darkness. You may say, but I am only a flicker of light, only a glowworm, only a grain of sound. But this does not matter, because in essence, what is an ocean but a multitude of raindrops? And in essence, you may say, but I am only one raindrop against the oceans. But in essence, we are all here to learn and to be guided from each other, are we not?
Yes.
So therefore, fellow colleagues, you may feel disheartened, you may stumble and fall and have many regrets and want to argue and shout against the spirit world and call us aliens and all sorts of different names. It does not matter, because we have an abundance of tolerance and we have abundance of patience, because in essence we do not judge you for when you stumble and fall. In essence, we love you even more. And in essence, as we help and guide you, it is hoped that one day you can help and guide others. Is this not the ripple of compassion? And in essence, as I help you, you can help another. And in essence, if you can help one person, you can help two. If you can help two, you can help 20. If you can help 20, you can help 200,000. 200 million, you can help send the world. Nothing should ever stop your passion in the service of others. You may say, what is spiritualism? What does it mean? What does a healer mean? What does a medium? What are these responsibilities? What is its aim and objective? What is my aim and objective now speaking to you through this physical body? What responsibility as a healer, a spiritual artist, a trance medium? Quite simple. You are in the service of others. And to serve others is part of your progression. Because in essence, you are therefore to alleviate the suffering of man. Because if you and the spirit world, we can all work together as one. Because I want to say to yourself, you may say, but I am only a simple person from the Burnley church. I am insignificant. I am not a politician or a master artist. Or a leader, a president. Maybe you do not want to have these responsibilities. Maybe you are eagerly wanting a quiet life. And I wish to say to yourselves that in essence it does not matter what part of the world you return to, what family, what status, what materialistic families you return to. It's what makes your life now is important the most. Because in essence the world will not be destroyed by those that do evil, but by good people that stand back and do nothing. And the greatest change and capabilities is not and ever found in politicians or leaders or master artists or musicians and other great individuals that have lived upon the earth. The true power and inspiration of change lies within you. You have the power of inspiration to alleviate your own suffering, to alleviate the suffering of your family, your greater family spread across the world, regardless the colour of skin, regardless how they sound and so forth. Because what matters most is what lies in the heart, does it not, fellow colleagues?
Yeah, Father.
Yes.
So in essence, you may say, but I have much to learn. But equally, I can say to you, I have much to learn as well. You may say, I bet you have much to learn. Yes, I have a field of expertise that I am passionate about, as I am sure that you are passionate in your field of expertise. It's what makes us individual, does it not, fellow colleagues? And many others will argue, why would a spirit be wanting to give information and knowledge and inspiration regarding the earth planes? Why is the spirit very positive with the earth planes so much? But is it not important as part of the spiritual progression is to return and reincarnate to an earth plane vibration to learn, to gain those experiences? Because remember, experiences gives you knowledge, knowledge gives you understanding, and understanding gives you wisdom, and that is what ignites the spiritual light within. So in essence, it is important what happens to the earth planes. But otherwise, what is the point in essence of healers on the earth plane and spiritual artists and trance mediums and physical mediums and inspirers and lovers of all kinds? In essence, we want to bring that light and that love from the spirit way to the earth plane. The earth plane is filled with love and of light. It is because of individuals like you, fellow colleagues, that has kept the darkness at bay. And you may say, me kept the darkness at bay. But remember, as I said many times before, you may only be a grain of sand. You may only be a droplet in the vastness of the ocean of time. But it is in the small acts of compassion and kindness and great love that keeps and pushes against the darkness of despair. Do not be ignorant what happens and surrounds your life. Do not always look up upon your leaders for change. If you want to change, change yourselves. And if you are still not content with this, inspire others. That is all that I can do, is inspire you with my words. Because in essence, we must abide by universal laws. It would be easier, would it not, to give you all the answers. To say everything that I'm going to give you is going to make your life easier. But I can assure you, if I did this, you will only come to me back in the spirit world and say, I bet. I must say to yourself, I'm not very happy with yourself. I must now come back to try even harder in my next life. And I can assure you, fellow colleagues, do not look upon material things, that you need riches of gold to accomplish change across the world. The poorest of individuals have the kindest of hearts, the most warmest of hands, and the great passion and will for change. You do not need no monies to make a change upon the earth planes. You need only a loving heart and a will to change and inspire others. So I wanted to share these simple words with yourselves. I hope that I have inspired one out of all these individuals. But in essence, if you can have one individual in your lifetime, this is your worst life worth living, is it not correct?
Yes.
So therefore, colleague Chris, I will now answer the questions if there's questions for me to answer.
I'm sure there's lots after all.
Great.
Okay, so if you'd like to raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll come to you. Anybody at all wish to start?
I'll start it off.
Okay, Jean, yeah.
I knew this would happen. Evening, Albert.
A question happen, colleague Jean.
We hear all the time that there is no time in the spirit world.
That is correct.
But when we return to spirit, do we carry that sense of time for a while? And does time still exist in the lower regions below the Shadowlands?
That's an interesting question, but you have asked me 6 different questions.
Only 2.
Mine are great. The first part of the question, your confirmation is correct. There is no time in the spirit world. I will give you in a simple explanation so that all your colleagues can visualize. Have you seen a river in your times before upon this reincarnation? A river. And a river moves primarily in one direction, correct?
Yes.
And if you could imagine the river, and sometimes different parts of the river will move faster and slower, correct?
Yes.
A dependability on its terrain, some will be deeper and some will be higher. The water will be very fast, very slow at different times. So imagine the river being time. The earth planes. And against the river banks, correct, is the spirit world. There is no river that moves forward or back, it is simply stood still. Nothing is moving. No time, correct? So as you are upon your little, your little sailing boat, and waving to all the spirit world, wanting to paddle all the way back and say, I have made a mistake. Incorrect. You can maybe paddle maybe a few moments back, but the river will push you back forward, will it not?
Yep.
This is why we say to yourself, there is no left or right, north, south, east, west. It is simply the ocean of time and of learnings. There is no direction, it is simply learning. As long as you're moving forward, whatever that may be, you must trust in your intuition. So in essence, I am your guide, stood, and in essence, because there is no time, I can run and I can meet you 5 years ahead of yourself. This is why, in essence, you call predictions. We can calculate what may happen because we can foresee to a degree its near-distant futures. Because you may say, how is this possible? Because the river is moving forward, you have stood still in the spirit world. Incorrect. It stood still and moving fast at the same time. That is as much as I can give you on time at this moment in time. Do you understand, Jay?
Yes, I do.
When you physically die, and your physical body returns back to the earth, or if you, of course, wish to burn your physical body, your spirit moves and sheds its skin and moves to the spirit world. In it, the power of the mind is powerful indeed. There is many individuals, he sees, that still think and feel that they are in pain, and when there is no physical body to give you pain. But there is a great, powerful pain that individuals often forget, and this is what happens when individuals commit suicide. Because in essence, individuals will say, so yes, the physical pain has been left behind. Yes, perhaps the physical pain has been left behind. But a pain is far greater, is emotional pain. Emotions come from the spirit within, and you take this with you to the spirit world. So when you feel sadness, your body does not feel sadness, your body is gone, it feels in your spirit. Does that make sense to yourself? I have not finished yet, I say with laughter. I am only part finished with your question. So in essence, to time itself, if a spirit believes it must master and look upon the clock, then he will believe it. If he looks outside his window and thinks the sun is shining and will go down and rise again and look upon the 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, he will. But in essence, it is irrelevant if he still wants to live by this concept that this is free will and choice. No one can argue with an individual because every spirit has choice. No one can force this upon an individual. To the last part of your question, you referred to the shadowland. You see, the shadowland, you may say, but what vibration? You understand the pyramid of progression. And you understand, have you witnessed a pyramid before? Have you climbed the pyramid of Giza before?
I've seen it, I've climbed it.
I don't mind. And there are many steps, are there not?
There are.
And if you could imagine in your mind that the lowest step of the pyramid is the shadowlands, correct? And then another 3-4 steps, your light becomes a little brighter, correct? And as you continue walking upon the steps, the light becomes brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. But you may say, Astro, I want to jump to the top of the pyramid with your impatience quality. Incorrect. What allows your spirit to come to these places is your spiritual life within. So this is why your reincarnations are so valued to your own spirit and to the spirit world. Because it is hoped that after this lifetime you have helped so many individuals share compassion and kindness, and this has helped ignite the light and help the light within yourself to grow. So when you return back to the spirit world, you may have come to another few steps upon that progression, and you may be happy at this level of vibrations for another 1,000 years, and you will say, I will want to return back to the earth plane because I want to do things right or better this time. So in the next life, you will be more compassionate and kind, and then you will return again, and you will climb upon that pyramid even more. Whatever part of the pyramid, from the brightest pyramid to the lowest of shadowlands, there is no time. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Have I answered your question?
But what about below the shadowland, Albert?
Whatever the shadowlands beyond there, it does not matter. It is the spirit world. How many vibrations are there in the spirit world, do you believe? Thousands. Too many to count. How many planets and stars are there upon the universe? How many grains of sand do you think there are upon the earth planes?
5.
Grains of sand? My goodness. There are too many to count. My goodness. Is this your English sense of humour? I still do not imagine all the time. My goodness. My goodness. Who's next with your question?
Okay, anybody else got a question? Please raise your hand. Oh, the lady just there.
What is the shadowlands?
What is the shadowlands? My goodness. Colleague, I want to state with you that colleague Anne in the spirit world has just said that you have opened a can of worms. Yes, Caroline. I will answer your question in truth. The shadowlands, my goodness. The shadowland is a vibration. I will explain this through a story. The shadowland is a simple vibration upon the pyramid. You understand the concept and philosophy on the pyramid of progression?
Yes.
So upon the bottom part of the pyramid is the shadowlands, and even further there are even darker, very darker vibrations. But your light would be too bright to go there. If you want to visit there, I recommend for you to lower your light through meditation, and you may want to do some rescue work, helping spirits that have been lost. So you see that you may say, so who has made them lost? And what did I just say to Colleague Dean to yourself? Is that in the spirit world there is choice. No spirit must say this is where you must go. Your light, no matter how dark or bright, like a magnetic field, will take you to the vibration that matches your own spiritual light. But you see that in this life, for an example, you may have hurt many people. You may have murdered many people. I hope that you have not. I say this as a life. So all these actions, are these actions going to bring light and love to your heart or to your spirit?
Say that again.
If you are unkind and want to hurt others, does this help the spiritual light to grow?
No.
It will not. It will dim your light within. Yes?
Yes.
I am not saying to yourself, man, good, you have to be so conscientious for every word you speak to each other. This is how you learn. And you see that every single moment you are faced with trials and tribulations. And many acts of badness and negativity and anger and fear and jealousy and grief is what hinders and anchors the spiritual light within. If you could imagine a bright burning fire in front of you, and this is your light, and every time you are kind and compassionate, you can throw another piece of wood on the fire. The fire will become brighter, will it not? Yes. But if you are unkind, and there is jealousy and grief and sadness and fear in your heart, you are putting water upon that fire, and the fire will dim. Does this make sense to yourself?
Yes.
The shadowlands is a vibration where, for an example, a lost spirit or a spirit upon a reincarnation has done not very good things, you see, and wants to be there. And you may say, but why do these individuals want to be there? Remember, there is choice, is there not? Would you want to be in the shadowlands? You probably would say, I do not. I want to be in the forest, the tropical, of the sunshine in the spirit world. Is what you are guided by. The shadowlands, thousands upon millions of spirits are here in these vibrations who need to be helped and guided and nurtured. This is why it is very important, and not many individuals can do this level of work in the physical, because you have to dim your own spiritual light, and you can do this very effectively upon the astral traveling when you are sleeping. And sometimes individuals will wake up upon your sleep and say, I feel not very good, I feel grumpy, I feel very sad. And you may have been to the shadowlands. You may have rescued some individuals. Does this make sense to yourself?
Yes.
Have I answered your question?
Yes.
A bit.
Okay. Does anybody else have a question? I'd like to raise your hand. Don't be shy. Oh, the gentleman there.
Good evening, Albert.
Question our pain.
In a dream state, do we return to the spirit world?
In your dream state, wait, when you are sleeping, the process is the same. Sleeping or not, that is the power of your mind. If an individual is lying in bed and sleeping, and the physical body is broken, and for an example, an individual just had a heart attack, the spirit must go through the same process as one that is consciously awake. But in essence, individuals create accidents very quickly, 1 minute on the earth, 1 minute in the spirit world, and that is very, that can sometimes shock the spirit, and can sometimes, this spirit need much healing if this happens. The more consciously aware you are upon your passing, I say in a percentage easier it would be for your transition. There is some individuals that have needed to be rescued because they still believe they are asleep. They say, go away, I am asleep, but they have died and returned to the spirit world. They have said this many times. So in essence, it's other part to your question. And individuals must close their eyes and make some transitions themselves. Have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you.
A bit interesting question, is it not?
Very. Do we have any more questions, anybody?
Mine,
That's
a
all.
bit.
Oh,
Albert,
Yeah,
they say that when you start to work spiritually,
yeah,
your energy system within your body changes.
that is correct.
Can you explain how it changes and why?
That was mine, the greatest. Would you like me to explain this scientifically, spiritually, or physically?
All
wow.
three.
Mine, the greatest. Good. Upon your life, and you may remember this, I will use this in terminology many times. We say to you, you are all awoken from your sleep. And many individuals still consciously are asleep. And you may say, what do I mean by this? One of the first aspects of your awakening, your spiritual awakening, through meditation, healing, and of simple spiritual truth, is accepting that you are a spirit within a physical body. Your consciousness awakens. Your subconsciousness is your spirit. Your consciousness is the physical. They become as one. They become balanced. And this is the first thing that happens to you in your crown chakra. Because in essence, you start questioning things. Why have I done this? And this is why many spiritual individuals are very hard upon themselves. Because in essence, it would be easier to live in illusion, is it not? It is very much harder to live in reality, is it not?
It is.
So in essence, your third eye opens and you see things very differently to others. And you get very frustrated. I want them to believe what I believe. I want them to see what I can see. And you have experienced this many times, have you not, in the past, of your frustration.
Yes.
But no matter what you say to these individuals, they I do not want to see. They cannot see, perhaps they're not even ready, because sometimes knowing the truth would be so overwhelming to them. It would subconsciously and consciously, it would be too much for their spirit. So in essence, you are planned to return to this earth in this life, to live and lead a spiritual life, to expand and to awaken from your sleep. Are you completely awakened? You are not. In individuals' attunement, and we use this physically, an attunement does not mean that one spirit is better than the other. Attunement is one that is able to see something so clearly and concisely, whose spirit and physical is in complete balance. For an example, physically does not harm another animal, that loves every individual equally, not because you are my master, I must love you more than my enemy, my neighbor. You must love everyone equally. Do not eat meat, and that your relationship with the light and meditation becomes so pure. So in essence, upon your attunement, your consciousness expands. It is like the blink of an eye. Sometimes you sleep, sometimes you awake, sometimes you sleep and awake. This is from reality to truth, reality to truth, reality to truth. Mechanically and physically, the energy systems within yourself starts to be ignited. And what ignites them is your uppermost important part of your chakras. I wish to say with you physically, your energy systems above from the heart, throat, third eye and your crown. But in essence, the lower frequency chakras must work in harmony with the other chakras as well. Your energy systems, what is very important to remember when working with the spirit world, is the continuation of using energies. In essence, I do not wish to say this selfishly or judgmentally in this instance. It is individuals that have been asleep keep much of the energies for themselves, because your subconscious tells your physical you must be compassionate. You constantly send out your energy, your prayers. You put on the television screen. You see these atrocities and you send out your energy. That is your energy that comes from you. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And when you are working as a caretaker in a church, you are greeting individuals, you give your love. So you are always giving energy. And this is why we say to colleague Stephen and to the other colleagues, when you give a spiritual reading, 4 hours physical work is compared to 20 minutes giving individual reading. That is the amount of energy you can give to those individuals. This is why mediums, healers, Reiki masters, whatever form of energy you wish to work with, it is irrelevant. You are working with energy of unconditional love. The spirit does not tire out. It's the balance of the physical that is mastered and is often forgotten. This is why individuals say, why is so many trance mediums returning to spirit before their time? Is it because we in the spirit world have tired and damaged the body? Incorrect. That is insufficient research. It's because, for an example, we say to colleague Stephen, we have entered your physical body, you must now go home and rest and eat correctly. Does he listen? He does not. So I think he has done the damage himself. We say this to the healers. And there is, after healing, you should not feel tired or sick. It's because you have not prepared yourself correctly. And that is why, often in healing and spiritual matters, the body of the human body is quintessentially important to the spirit. You may say the spirit does not need your body. Incorrect. It must work in harmony. As long as you want to live a good, healthy, long life, unless you want to return before your time, which of course you do not, you want to continue your spiritual work. In order to do this, you must eat correctly. So this gives the physical body energy, because what is the two energy portals in which you use as a healer, medium, trance medium, is the heart and the solar plexus. And this is why individuals should not eat before, for an example, when working in any form of spiritual work, because it hinders and blocks the energy portals of the solar plexus. And remember, where does energy come from? The solar plexus. It must be clear, so in order for the energy to flow from the spirit world, from your guides, through your physical body, and to the individual you are working with. You may say, but you are speaking only on healing. In essence, is a medium not a healer? Is a trance medium not a healer? Is a nurse not a healer? Is a doctor not a healer? Is an artist, a musician not a healer as well? Is an inspirer, a philosopher not a healer? You are all healers, are you not? In listening, speaking, giving, you are giving healing in these examples. So in relation to your questions, mechanically, you use much energy, so that balance is quintessentially important. Have I answered your question?
You have, thank you.
A bit,
Okay. Have we any more questions? Anybody? at all?
Mine a great age.
Quiet this evening, Albert. So far.
Kind of question.
Well, yeah, there we go.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. Sorry, the lady just. Oh, yeah, you got a question? for
Oh,
Albert?
Albert,
Yes.
I believe in reincarnation. But could you tell me, please, does the human spirit come back only as a human form, or can the human spirit come back as an animal form?
So this is a very interesting question and great confusion has brought across the Vedic essence. It is very important. There are two parts to your question. Firstly, individuals must understand to trust their own individual feelings and intuition. One book will say one thing and another book will say another. How can you know the difference between the two? It's your own intuition and feeling. Trust your feeling. In essence, I want to say to yourself and to say all colleagues, you may say, but the human spirit is different to the whale spirit, and the ant spirit is different to the kangaroo spirit. Incorrect. What makes you different is all your reincarnation. After each reincarnation, you create an ethnic body surrounding your spirit. So essence, I say with laughter, if you could imagine each laugh, you put a layer of clothing on. Yes, correct?
Yes.
And after each laugh, you put another layer of clothing on. I am not saying that suddenly you're going to walk around so large and rolling around with all these clothes upon you. This is rather an energy field that surrounds your spiritual life. This is what we call an ethnic body. Remember the river of time in which I have just explained. In the river of time dictates that you are always moving forward. You never go back. Which dictates that a spirit cannot go back to a spirit of an animal physical forms. Because a human spirit, in all its ways, weakness and strength, would not de-evolve. It always evolves. This does not mean that I say to you that spiritually, that the human race is more spiritual than one species of animals and another. This is incorrect. A spirit, your spirit, would not return as a horse, dog, cat, any other form of animal. It will always move forward in its progression. Does this make sense to yourself? So in essence, all your reincarnations will be in a physical human form. It would not be in another animal. Because in essence, what can you learn being in a horse apart from freedom and eating the grass and being ridden upon all the time? Does this make sense to yourself? A bit interesting question, is it not?
Yes. Jean, another question?
Albert, do we always have to reincarnate to the earth?
Minor question. It's a minor question. I have just stated. You have choice. You are free will. If you want to remain in the spirit world, you can remain there for tens of billions of years you choose.
Can we not reincarnate somewhere other than the earth?
Sure. Minor question. I will explain this. Would you like me to explain this scientifically or spiritually?
Both.
Both. You understand that maybe, Dankeschön. Colleague, I will give you an example. Perhaps this is your 211th reincarnation to the earth plane. So in essence, you have had many lives, have you not?
I've no idea.
Yes, for an example. And all these lives you have lived upon the earth, past maybe as a Persian, Japanese, Native American, African, is irrelevant. And all these reincarnations you are based upon a relationship to what important spirit? The spirit of the collective human race. You see that what is very important, you understand soil groups. And within the soil group, there is maybe 1 to 2 million spirits in one soil group.
Yeah.
And then there could be another one with 5 million and one with 200,000. But in the collective soil group is the human race soil group, which is all the spirits of the humans. Are you still with me at this stage?
Yes.
So in essence, you may say, yes, I have come back to the earth to progress. Yes, you have. At 80%, you have come back to progress and to learn for yourself. But the other 20% essence, you have come to progress to help others, to progress collectively together. And this is why isolation does not work. Every country, in essence, if you could imagine every country being an individual soul group, it would be very good, would it not, maybe in the eyes of some, to put walls upon your countries and not allow another soul from another country to enter yourself. Complete isolation. There should not be any walls of isolation. You should all be living together as one. And this is what is hoped in the spirit way, that you will all progress as one. Your desire, your pull of magnetic pull within your heart pulls you so close to the spirit of the earth as well. She is your family, she is your friend. So in essence, yes, by choice, there is free will. If you so desire within your heart to travel across time and space to find another planet that will be sustainable to your spirit. But in essence, what question did I just answer to this individual with the animals? Maybe you found another planet, and you say, man, good, I have travelled this far, I must now wait 2.5 billion years before another humanoid lands. Do you understand this? So in essence, the probabilities would be highly unlikely for you to do this. You will remain to the earth plane, and you will remain continuation until the human race have progressed so far in spiritualities. Do you understand this?
I do, thank you.
Have I answered your question?
Thank you.
Better,
Okay. Does anybody else have a question? That's to raise your hands if you do. The lady just there.
Hi.
It's a man, it's what a greeting, I say, every so I say. A good an abend. Are you feeling good or bad?
Good.
That's just good.
My question is, you say reincarnation after reincarnation after reincarnation.
Yes.
How far back does it go? When did it start and what started it all off?
After mine, I must go to the depths of the halls of learning to find a book upon this, I say. A very difficult question to answer. Meine Güte, I will give you this, Dankeschön. Yes, I will give you an explanation to your question. If you could imagine, meine Güte, a light in space, in complete darkness, and imagine you being a light, you all belong as water. Could you imagine the whole oceans? Can you distinguish between one droplet to another?
No.
You cannot, they're all merged together as they're not the water. So in the beginning of time, of the spirit, I am talking about your spirit, my spirit, colleague Jimmy's spirit, and all the other spirit spread across the world, the spirit of the earth, the spirit of the tree, the spirit of the ant and the snails, and all the spirits spread across the universe, all belonged to this great ocean of the waters. In the beginning of time, we theorize that ignited a will to learn, to experience. And when the physical plane of existence expanded, because what we mean by the physical plane of existence, we mean the universe. Do you understand this? Because where there was a beginning, there is an end. Where there is an end, there is a beginning. No energy can be destroyed. It can be changed from one form to the others. So when the universe expanded and exploded many trillions of years ago, because scientists still believe that the universe is very young, incorrect. It is much older than the scientists could ever imagine. So when this occurred, planets expanded and created, and all the elements of life allowed things to grow. And what do you think is the element of emotion that expands the spirit, any spirit, across the universe? If it is a dolphin, a dinosaur in its past, a human spirit, is inquisitiveness. And your spirit was inquisitive. And you then broke away, and you broke away from the ocean. And you become a droplet. You become an individual. And then you return from that great pool of knowledge, that great pool of light. You then decide upon your inquisitiveness to choose a physical body. Maybe in the very beginning you may have been a bacteria. Maybe, I don't know. And maybe you were a cat 280 years ago in your past reincarnation. So as you've progressed, you have said you have learned much. So when you return in this first life, you return back to the pool of the ocean, and you will say, I've just had the most beautiful experience. I was a cat, and I learned this, and I learned that. And others will say, that is interesting. I want to reincarnate now. Or the other droplets will expand. So this is the ripple of exchanging knowledge. They return, and they will return into different areas. They will return to different species. Do you understand this?
Yeah.
So in your reincarnation, you have progressed and progressed and progressed and progressed, and now after 298 reincarnations, you are living this life. Do you understand my answer to your question?
Yes, thank you.
A bit. I do want to ask myself another question.
Can't think of one.
That's mine, quick.
Does anybody else have a question? You'd like to raise your hand?
They say that the Earth's energies are changing. And they're changing because of the influence of the spiritual energies coming to the Earth. Can you confirm this, please?
This is a confirmation. That's your mind, quick. You are expected to ask me the question and expect a simple answer, but I could only answer it in truth. In essence, to your question, the Earth is changing in its energy field. That is correct. I want to state with you that how many individuals, how many spirits are there on the Earth today?
I haven't a clue.
I am not just referencing to the human spirit. How many trees are there in the world? How many plants? How many snails? How many cats and dogs? How many animals? Beyond counting possibilities, correct?
Correct.
So in essence, I want to state with yourself is that the human spirit, in its expansion of knowledge, there are more individual enlightened spirits returning to the earth plane now than it ever has done in the history of the earth. And you may say, why is it happening today? Why is it happening now? It is happening now because the earth, through its cycle of progression, this is the fifth time in which man has come to this stage of progression. About 980,000 years ago, there was a human civilization that lived in India and North Africa, and they were very technologically advanced. But in similarity, this is in comparison, used weapons of destruction and they killed each other. Some of its race remained in Africa, which expands the new theory of genetics to what the scientists believe the human race has come from now. Because the human race have lived upon the earth for millions of years. About 184 million years is the first record of man himself, and many scientists have hidden away this knowledge because they believe this may frighten the world in its sense. So in essence, why is it the fifth time? Why is it important now? Because the earth, if there is going to be another destruction, the earth will be completely destroyed. The earth cannot manage to sustain another war caused by man themselves. And this is why there is a greater need of more enlightened spirit returning back to the earth. And this means more brighter spirit, the higher the consciousness, the higher the light, and this will affect the vibrations of the earth. You see this within the children. Why are they so knowledgeable? This is why actually the children can teach their parents much about spirit, meditation, kindness, empathy, forgiveness and love. Do you understand this? So their awareness, their knowledge in which they bring back vision outweighs any knowledge has seen before. And you will see this in the next 100 to 300 years. Man, look at this. You would be watching, will you not? You would be planning your next reincarnation.
Coming back.
Man, look at this. And then maybe I will be asking you the question. Have I answered your question?
Thank you.
But,
We're still okay, Albert?
yes, it is still time for questions. Man, look at this.
Would anybody like to raise their hand and ask a question? Oh, the gentleman there.
Yes. Can you answer the question whether man came from God or from the building blocks of science?
Good. If you are getting Dankeschön. I have just spoken to your spirit guide, and I do not mean this in disrespectful or judgmental manners, but do not confuse your mind between the spirit and the physical. You are speaking physically, genetically, yes, it had to evolve. And it's in originalities. Is it the stories in which the Bible and Quran and other scriptures dictate that God has made the Adam and Eve incorrect? The theory of Charles Darwin and so forth, it dictates the evolution of the physical body, dictates that every species, a plant life evolves from one form to the other. Spiritually, we all come from the same source, the same light, same vibration, which we call the spirit world. This is why we say to ourselves, I want to speak to my mother, but if you have lived 300 lives, which out of the 300 mothers would you like to speak to? I say with laughter. Because in essence, in the spirit world, physically, that is only a physical manner. Because in essence, we are all brothers and sisters. We are all interconnected. We all come from that spiritual life. But this does not mean that I say to you, I have not spoken to God himself. I do not know what he looks like, what he sounds like. What is important is that I do my very best and follow my heart, helping and guiding others the best I can. And maybe that is the true legacy, the instructions in which he has bestowed upon man all those many trillions of years ago. Maybe upon that pyramid of progression, maybe he has created the pyramid of progression. And that one day when I walk upon that pathway in many tens of millions of years, when I have learned patience and tolerance and compassion, I can come to the top of the pyramid and greet him with open arms, with so much love. Do you understand this?
Yes, thank you, Albert.
Have I answered your question?
You have, yes.
A bit,
Okay, anybody else got a question?
Stephen, Albert, why do you call God he?
And mind, look, it just for an explanation. If you would like me to call her, I can call she is the God of this moment in time. It's irrelevant. He or she, it does not matter. Maybe God is another form of species. Maybe God has evolved so much it is irrelevant if you're male or female. Maybe he is both. Great opportunities for the physical body then, would it not? You can be a mother and a father at the same time.
It says in the Bible, God made man in his own image, so to the Catholics, God's a man.
Man, look at
Well,
this.
the way I see it, we are all first and foremost spirit. So
Yes.
if God made man in his own image, then God is just purely spirit.
Light, yes, that is correct. Pure light.
Which is neither he nor she.
That is correct. But when I give explanations to individuals' physical mind dictates of an explanation that helps their understanding. If you want to return to the spirit world, I can talk about simple spiritual truths beyond your comprehension. And you will say, Albert, why do you speak in this way? But I must speak in a way to help all individuals in this room at this moment in time. Do you understand?
I do, thank you.
Do not overthink these matters, Colleague Dean. I say with a shaman.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Would you like to raise your hand? So the gentleman again.
Yes, have you met Stephen Hawking yet?
Stephen Hawking. Hawking, yes, I have met colleague Stephen the second time. But he is readjusting in the spirit world. He is now able to move his hands. Of course, this is in his mind. Yes. And his feet, and he's starting to walk. And he's so emotional of joy. And the first word he wanted to say is, was my series right? and we said to him, you have done much work. He has indeed brought great thinking. You see that a scientist, it's not about simply bringing scientific breakthrough for mankind. It gets you to think for yourself. And that is a good scientist. It is able to serialize, do you understand, bring theory across the mind of mankind and pushes progress forward, and that is most important. But he's met up with his mother and his father and many of his family, and they are very joyful. There are many individuals that are wanting to meet him and want to speak to him, but you see, this is what happens. You see that I say to yourself, all these individuals in the physical, so many want to be famous and celebrities and so forth. I say, want you in the spirit world, it is a curse, I say with a smile. Because you see that I have so many individuals. So I am quite content wanting to speak to so many individuals. For example, musicians, let us say, for example, Elvis Presley himself. How many individuals want to meet him once they go to the spirit world? Millions of individuals. His door has never stopped since his return to the spirit world. So in essence, Stephen Hawking himself, Hawking, he will take time to readjust it. There is not going to be no door or no window to lock himself away. But what would happen, how to overcome this? He will organize, for an example, in your understanding, what I do quite often. I cannot simply speak to individuals because my work is to help the individuals on this vibration, is to organize a conference or a gathering on the astral plane. And there will be thousands of individuals that will come at the same place. And that is a good way to have all the stones in one basket. You know what I mean. Yes. Have I answered your question?
You have, thank you.
A bit. Interesting question. I will ask that I will speak to him if I give the opportunity to say that I have been to speak through colleague Stephen's physical body, and there was an individual that asked upon you. And he will put a smile upon his face.
Okay, have we any more questions? Would you like to raise your hands? Anybody?
I'm only able to answer one other question.
One more, has anybody got one? Anybody on the front got another question?
A personal one? Can I ask you a personal one?
Mine, of course, it is, yeah.
I know you're fed up of listening to me, aren't
Didn't
you?
I?
Listen, did you have an arrangement with Stephen before he reincarnated to do this work?
So mine, of course, it is indeed a question. Am I able to answer it without colleague Stephen being present? I wonder with a smile. But in essence, what you call arrangement, I call a spiritual contract. And in essence, I want to state with yourself that I was not intent to be working with Stephen so soon in his progression. because another individual of colleague Roy's partner called Anita Williams returned to the spirit world before her time as the main trance medium in the circle, because we wanted colleague Stephen to continue with his learning and evolvement of his physical, and in essence bring his grounding and his understanding. So in essence it was not rushed along, but in essence we drew close with around colleague Stephen, perhaps a little before his times. But this is why in essence in the arrangement that I knew colleague Stephen as a spirit before he took this physical form. Do you understand?
That's what
that is correct. And I want to state with you that I remember you as well. And you asked us many questions as you did now. And I do not want you to change anyway. This is what teaches the spirit much, by questioning and questioning more. Have I answered your question?
You have, thank you.
So therefore, fellow colleagues, I wish to state with yourselves, stay positive, stay optimistic, and for goodness sake smile. It is not the end of time. What a great opportunity you have given yourselves to live this life, learning, experiencing, mastering, and loving. Use these to your advantage to bring about change. On behalf of Asia, who always stands by my side, my guides and inspirers and your doorkeepers and guides and inspirers, we all send much love and strength. You were needed. Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you, Albert.
Thank you very much.